didn't work for years, got divorced and got relicensed in, I think, 2017. So I've
Okay.
been doing this a couple years now. Yeah.
So you're fairly new back at it, and you're
Yes,
almost 30 years ago. So
and everything's so different now. I mean, back then, you had to go into the office to use the MLS. Like, you didn't have computers and
yeah,
things like that. So
yeah.
completely
No,
different.
you're in a completely new business,
Well,
new to
to
you,
be,
new to the world, new to you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been much different. And then Joni just came on. She's really one of our newer agents, also. 26 years in the business, Joni,
Yeah. Yep,
and
yep,
about
yep.
11 with Keller Williams or something like that.
Yeah, actually just 10. May was just 10. And I'm going to be teaching the class on Wednesday. So I wanted to get on your class and kind of observe. And I know that you're going to bring a lot to the table. We have quite a bit of fun with scripts. So
Yeah, Joni and I were both Mike Ferry coaching, which I got a ton of. Wow. And I was just reviewing all my Mike Ferry coaching stuff, and it's sort of like I should be reviewing that stuff. So what type of prospecting are you guys doing, Matt?
I'm heavily on social media, as you know. I have a couple different other lead generation sources, as far as a investor out of Pahrump that has a Facebook campaign for his community. I get all his washout leads and set all his appointments for his community.
So you're getting leftovers from him. You're buying those?
No, he's actually buying them. He's got a project manager that touches them first, and generally she can't, do anything with them. So then they flow to me.
Okay.
Generally don't realize they're calling Pahrump or a manufactured facility or a manufactured home. Can I have a cold book, please? And then, then it's a different conversation, and then I can take them to a Vegas, if they're looking to buy in Vegas or looking to buy something else.
So are those buyer leads?
All buyer leads, but a lot of them have some seller aspects to it.
Well, yeah.
In Vegas here and retire out there. I've done a couple of those.
Yeah. Well, so, a lot of buyers are sellers and vice versa, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Justin, how about you? Any other prospecting, by the way, Matt? Sorry.
I have a few other things going on, but it's a little convoluted. But basically, just trying to go after first-time buyers and sellers really online through landing pages, stuff like that.
So you're creating landing pages?
I am, yes.
And doing some advertising on Facebook and stuff?
Absolutely, yes.
And what type of, you going after buyers on those, sellers, what?
My last campaign was sellers. The
Okay.
one that was listed, I was trying to double end it, so I was going after buyers on that one. I have a few different campaigns for going after buyers, going after, community, stuff like that in my Facebook marketing.
Okay. So were those home valuation leads?
No, those were the ones that I just got were all buyers.
The seller ones. No, the seller ones.
The sellers are all not home valuations. It's just really, hey, everybody's trying to buy your house. Why does everybody want to buy your house? Here, I've got.
I'm talking about the landing page leads you mentioned.
I have them just trying to get there. I don't have them go to evaluation. I'm just trying to get the contact info and contact them out.
What type of ad were you running?
On the seller ads, I really is just lead. No, I wasn't doing lead gen. I was doing. Got me on the spot here. Engagement. I was doing engagement, and there's another one I was doing. I did not do lead gen for sellers because I just haven't figured that out yet.
Okay. For the most part, I think to generate leads with sellers, it's pretty much home valuation. You can sit here and try and say, are you looking to sell your home? Right. That's an ad that might seem logical, and you can create all kinds of fluff around it, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that your response rate on that is going to be close to zero. Does that sound right, Joni?
I don't really run a lot of those, so I don't have any really input that would be other than just guessing.
Okay. And what's your class on Wednesday, Joni?
That's lead generation.
Lead generation. Okay. And Justin, what What type of prospecting are you doing?
Well, I'm really looking forward to the class on Wednesday. So realistically, most of what I've been doing has been Zillow ads. So
You're paying Zillow?
Pardon?
You're paying Zillow?
Yeah. Too much. So I mean, it's had a good return on value, but they're certainly expensive leads. And then sphere of influence. And I've done 2 open houses in my life. I've got a client from one of those, but I need to actually start using some of the systems in command for Facebook advertising. I do put videos out on YouTube, market update videos, things like that. And I've actually gotten 2 of my clients from those videos, as well as a referral then from one of those clients for another client. So yeah, but I'm fairly new into this. Most of my activity has been on the buy side. So I need to expand to the sell side, but I also need to diversify in my lead sources and find less expensive leads.
Okay. And then how about you, Christina?
So I basically suck at lead generating or prospecting.
Okay.
So mostly, since I've gotten into the business, I've only had 2 listings, and I mainly work with buyers just because I feel they're easier to get. I work realtor.com leads. My niche, whatever I guess you could say right now, has been converting renters to buyers. So doing like renting versus buying kind of workshops, informations, flyers, things like that. And I've actually been pretty successful at it, except for I would like to focus a little more on some listings, just because, it's a lot of work working with buyers.
Yeah.
And especially when they don't know that they can buy and you're guiding them through the process. And so a lot of them, it's a long game. But my pipeline's pretty full and I've been doing okay lately. But literally like the last 3 closings I had were people that I've been working with for the last 1.5 to 2 years to finally close them. So it's a long game.
No, rental is definitely a long game. I think if you do it and you do it smartly, it's legit. But it's definitely a tough one.
Well, I think it's for me, I found, because a lot of people don't want to work with those people. Everybody wants the slam dunk. So I'll take them on, and that's my thing, is I'll stick with you if you stick with me. And we know it's not going to happen overnight, but like I said, my pipeline's full. And so now I'm starting to see the fruit of it, but I really want to get more listings.
Absolutely. There's a thing, we have bold, if you haven't heard of bold, but there's a bold law, and it's not only a bold law, it's something I've heard all over the place, but it says what you focus on expands. And think about that for a moment. What you focus on expands. So when you start focusing on listings, you'll get more listings. And that might sound simple, but if you think about it and you focus on it every single day, then you can't help but it becomes that RAS. I don't know if you heard about the RAS. I forget what it stands for. It's the thing where
Reticular activating system.
There you go. So it's that thing about when you get your new car, you're going to see that car all over the place. It's sort of like that. When you start focusing on listings, you're going to learn about ways to get listings. It's just your focus. And if you become obsessed with it, you'll get it. And like 70% of my business has always been listings, which is kind of makes me weird, right? Because usually everybody starts with buyers. Joni, we've done FSBOs, expireds, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing now?
So Todd, every day, Todd's calling the expireds, the withdrawns. He's going into the office every day and making all of those calls. I've mainly, since COVID, I've been mainly making the care calls. So I'm calling my past clients and my SOI, people that I knew were coming up to work with. Those calls take longer. But what I can tell you that I've found by having those calls and conversations is they're getting more personal. And so we've gotten some extra business out of that. And then I've done a little bit of the circle prospecting, but I've got my team. So I have 2 agents on the team now, and I've got a listing that we're about 5 to 7 days from it being finished and ready to be on the market. That we had to get the tenant out. So the girls are going to start circle prospecting
Yeah.
to let people know this week they're calling that it's coming on the market. Then they'll call those people back to let them know it's going to be live tomorrow and I can take you over to the property. And then of course, once it's sold and in contract, they'll call them again. And that's what we're going to be continuing to do with all of our listings. So
Yeah.
I will be talking about, mainly being on the phones and talking to people on Wednesday. We're not doing a lot as far as talking about stuff you have to pay for. It's about how can you get belly to belly with people and on the phones. And as you know, we don't pay for any leads. I don't
Yeah.
pay for anything.
Okay. For me, I'm kind of all over the place. I've done expireds. I still have a ton of old expireds in my database. I touch those people on a regular basis. Same thing with FSBOs. I do still do FSBOs. I haven't done them real recently, but it's definitely something I'll continue to do. I was paying for some, kind of like you, Matt. I had some, do you prefer Matty or Big Matty or?
Call me anything, big dog.
Yeah, so I was paying for some leftover leads for like flippers, and I think I have my second listing on them. Well, no, I didn't sign that listing yet. We pushed it back a little bit, but that was expensive, and I think it'll pay off over time. And the jury's still out on that. I'm doing Swift Hippo. If you guys are looking for seller leads, Christina or any of you guys, relatively cheap, relatively not great leads. But for $200 a month, I was getting, I think about 12, 13, 14 leads a month. And I think I've got one listing out of them. So I did about 6 months, $1,200. I've got one listing so far.
What was that through?
It's called Swift Hippo.
Oh, okay.
It's home valuation leads. They do it for you. It makes it easy.
Right.
You don't need to worry about it. They just do it. They tell you that you pay $200 a month. I think they say about 150, 160 goes toward the ads themselves, and they charge you 40, $50 to administer it.
Right.
So it's a set and forget it type thing. They email you the leads. They'll help you get them into your CRM. So that's a really good source of creating a database. And if you keep on those people, they're going to convert. Like I said, I probably did it for 6 months, $1,200. I got one listing. I'm sure I'll convert more over time. I have about 100 of those leads so far. So it's a decent source. Are you guys looking to expand your lead sources at all?
Yes.
Sure.
I'm looking more to laser them, target them, get real surgical with them, actually.
Okay. Yeah, and I've got this huge database I've been here 5 years. Yeah, I'll give you the quick on me. I've been in real estate 8 years, 5 years in Vegas. I do pretty well, about 20 deals a year. And like I said, 70% are sellers. I've done door knocking, I've done FSBOs expireds. I bought leads, I've circle prospected, I've got all kinds of lists that I've gotten. And right now all I'm doing is hitting all those old leads. I've got expires that go back 10 years. Like I said, I've got a lot of different lead sources. So I'm hitting those people on a regular basis. Joni, you're going to be teaching what, prospecting?
Yeah, lead generation.
Yeah. So it's really like her class probably should be before this one, right? So let me kind of jump into the content. Are these supposed to be 1 hour or 2 hour classes? 2 hours? Okay.
Yep.
You guys tell me if if it's, if we want to keep going. Do we have more than the people on the screen? How many people do you guys see? It says 8 participants, but I only see.
Yeah, so you have some of them that they're just not showing their faces. So, you know, maybe they're driving or whatever they're doing.
Okay.
But it's
Can
also,
you guys share your screens at all? I see Alex and Carmen and Mary Lou. If you guys have any questions, please jump in. I don't see you. I'm going to try and share my screen now.
and it is, Patrick, also being shared. It's being recorded for live for Facebook so that
All
people,
over the world.
yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right, I'm going to jump into the material. I'm going to keep it going. I'll try to keep it custom to you guys. Can you see that right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to just jump into the material now. I really want to get an idea what you guys are up to. I'm a huge believer in prospecting. What I know is probably 80% of your top agents are prospecting based, and that comes in a lot of different flavors, right? I think that even the people that are quote unquote real strong SOI people, they're prospecting their sphere. Joni's, I know, has a nice mix of that. She's done her own prospecting. She's Todd's doing prospecting, and they hit their sphere pretty hard. And one way to prospect is to prospect your sphere. So we're going to talk about scripts. So the first thing there, how to internalize scripts. The short answer on that, and let's talk a little about internalizing scripts. And I'm going to jump down to number 4. And what's the difference between a professional and an amateur internalize versus reading the script? Have you guys all gotten the phone call where they literally just start reading the script?
Oh, yeah.
And what do you do when they do that?
Mhm.
You hang up. Even I do that, right? Like, I'm a sympathetic person to prospecting, right? And I just hang up, right? Because they just sound stupid and they're just reading the script, right? Now, the difference between that and internalizing is when you internalize it sounds more natural, right? And I think that's so important. A lot of people will say that, well, scripts are fake, all those types of things. Well, they're fake when you make them sound fake, right? When you know your scripts, they become you, they become a part of you. A lot of what I do is I pick and choose from scripts as I go. So I don't always just flow through the scripts as they go. I'm literally just picking and choosing as I go. And a lot of scripts are mostly just questions, right? Okay. So the point about how to internalize scripts is to practice them and really, really know them and to do role play and things like that. Okay. So what it sounds like when they're internalized, it sounds natural. People don't know you're reading from a script, right? Have you guys thought about doing, is there anybody here interested in doing expireds and FSBOs, by the way? Anyone? How about
Well,
our
I mean, we're
mystery
doing
people?
them already.
Yeah, you are. Anybody else? Any of our mystery people that are sort of hiding and they're thinking about expireds and FSBOs? No. Okay. So here's the benefit of the fact that I've done a lot of that. Those are the hardest people to deal with. And by having dealt with those people, it sort of made me real strong in terms of handling like my, what do you call that? Like water off a duck's back. So when I get no's now, like, I don't care, you know, like it's very rare that somebody's blowing me off or dismissing me or whatever it might be that before might have gotten me like, you know, sometimes people will say something and it'll kind of throw you off and make you feel bad. You know, handling objections, handling no's, that stuff will sort of make you, you know, feel like, should I really be doing this? Gosh, this is so hard, right? And what I've learned by going after the hardest people, the FSBOs and expireds, I've built up like armor, right? So now I can handle any no, and I won't get like, I can just keep going, because what I know is that it's a numbers game, right? So the more people I talk to, the more business I'm going to get. So having done those difficult ones, I'm able to handle the objections and the brush offs, and, you know, easily without it bothering me, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So scripts number 3 are overcoming objections, right? Like that's part of it, right? So when you know the scripts for handling objections, well, shoot, aren't you better at it rather than just winging it? Does that make sense? So that's why they're so important. Okay, moving on. Why are scripts important? Well, there we go. Number 1 is they're proven, right? So a lot of these scripts that, I don't know where you guys, if you have scripts, if you used them or whatever it may be, I'm going to share a bunch with you. I'll email them to you guys, whatever it may be. But scripts are proven, right? Whether it be Mike Ferry or all these other guys out there, they're proven scripts. Number 2 is you know what to say. So in any real estate conversation, hopefully you're going to get objections, okay? And I say hopefully, and the reason some people, like, they worry about objections, right? Like, oh my gosh, they're going to give me objection. Well, guess what, gang? If you're not getting objections, you don't have a real prospect. Objections are really critical. Like, they're telling you what their concerns are, and they're giving you an opportunity to address those concerns. Okay? So important. So you need to know how to address those objections. And the best way to do that is to practice scripts, because part of script practice and having good scripts is knowing what to say when they give you those scripts, right? Because if you don't practice them, if you don't know them, you're not going to handle them very well. And guess what that means? You're not going to get the business. And knowing how to handle scripts can be the difference between a $9,000 commission or no commission. And Matt, would you rather have a $9,000 commission or no commission?
All day long, I'll take the 9 Gs.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for you to learn your scripts. And I'm just going to put in there right now, one thing I just did is a downswing and Joni, what's the last part I did? A downswing, and then I said, learn your scripts. What do they call that again?
A tie down.
A tie down, but also there's another word for it. We'll
Internalize.
No, it's a downswing, and then it's the emphasis part of it.
You mean with your tone?
In bold, remember?
The mirror and matching?
No. Anyway, I'll get to it. It's a downswing, and then it's a,
okay.
I forget the word, but you're emphasizing those words. It's like, it's almost like partially like a close. So there's been more examples for that, but I wanted to point out that I use it naturally. Okay. I use it what, Matt? Naturally. Okay. So the people that wrote them are better than you and me, right? Does that make sense? Like, why do we want to use their scripts? Because they've been doing this. Like, they've given it a lot of thought. They've been in real estate longer. They've been teaching this stuff, right? I guarantee you that a coach like Mike Ferry, he's been doing it for 40 years. Now, yeah, he doesn't sell real estate since forever, but those scripts, he knows that they work because he's dealing with top producers all day, every day, and he's not stupid. He's not like evaluating stuff and making sure they work or don't work. He knows it works. And the fourth reason why is the scripts make you sound more professional. And we talked about that. So what are your goals for scripts, right? Number one is it creates rapport, right? So when I'm on the phone with a prospect, it's so important that I create rapport, that they like me, right? They say that people hire you based on if they know you, like you, and trust you, right? So That's the like part, creating rapport. The second one is to create trust. Most prospects, look, Justin, how many, you've got some prospects in your world right now, I'd imagine, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Do you think you're the only agent that they're considering?
of course. No, I suspect that I suspect there are other people out there trying to get business from them as well.
Yeah, and guess what? I don't think they tell us who those people are. Sometimes they do, right? But a lot of times,
I've not had anyone share that information with me, so I'll take your word for it. Sometimes they do.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do. Absolutely. A lot of times they don't. And then what do they do, Joni, when they decide to go with another agent?
What do you mean? What do they do? They
How do
ghost
they
you.
respond to your calls?
They don't.
They don't, right?
Yeah, you don't hear from them. Yeah, exactly. That's what happens. They just stop conversing with you. I think they're just afraid of saying, hey, you know what? I decided to go with somebody else. They haven't been trained like we have.
Yep. So they blow you off. They ghost you, right?
Yep.
And so how do you make sure they don't ghost you? Well, you create rapport, you create trust. You need them to know, like you, and trust you, right? And that's kind of what the scripts are all about. So the third one, right, is to learn their motivation. And learning their motivation, I think motivation is one of the most important things about scripts. Okay, because what do they say? People buy off of emotion, not logic, right? What is it? Joni, logic makes them think, emotion makes them act, right? So the motivation is the basis for the emotion, right? And so what are types of motivation, Christina?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. What are their motivations?
What types of motivation are there for sellers, for example?
Maybe they need to relocate, maybe they're downsizing, upsizing, life-changing events that have happened.
Bigger family, daughter,
Right.
their child is graduating from high school.
Right.
They had a baby, kids are getting older, they're getting older, all those types of things, right? So when we talk about somebody moving, for example, to Florida, Christina, is the motivation to move to Florida?
No, it's whatever's in Florida that's their motivation.
Right. So it might be a job, right?
Right.
But is the job the real motivation?
I think so. Is it not?
Why would you want a new job?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess that would be the
Why
motivation.
would a person want a new job?
Probably it's a better job.
But what makes the job better?
Is this where their emotions come in to play?
What makes the job better?
Well, I mean, it's different for everybody. It could be more money. It could be a different position. It could be something that they wanted to do. Like maybe they hated their previous job and they're
Right.
making a career change. It could be anything.
More money, quality of life, things like that, right?
Yeah.
So what's the real motivation? More money, quality of life, things
Okay.
like that. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So maybe moving to Florida it's not about moving to Florida. It's about the lifestyle in Florida, right? It's about living by the beach.
Right.
You see my point?
Yeah.
Like, don't stop at I'm moving to Florida or I'm downsizing. Like, downsizing is important, or getting a bigger house. Like, that's not the motivation. The motivation is we've only got, look, I got a prospect. He's got like 5 kids. He lives in a 3-bedroom, 1 bath.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's more than 5. I think there's like 7. He's got 1 bath. Now, Are they looking to, do they need to upsize, or do
Yeah.
they need to like become sane? Like, do they need to be able to take a bath? Like, does a husband and wife need a damn master bath so they can, be sane, right? Do they need an environment where they can literally take a bath without lining up all day? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a huge quality of life issue for them, right? Like, they need breathing room. They don't need a bigger house. They need to like improve their life. You see what I'm saying? So the motivation, what I'm suggesting is you need to dig into the motivation more, and you need to talk about that motivation more. Okay. Anybody here planning on moving, looking to move in the next while?
Yeah, I am.
Who just said that?
Christina.
Okay. Where are you thinking about moving?
That's not really important to me. Out of where I'm living now is what's important to me.
Okay. So what's going on with your living situation now?
My ex-husband and I are living together.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm going through a similar thing. So why is that? So you need to move.
Yeah.
And why is that important to you?
Because it's time for us to go our separate ways, and
You're living with your ex-husband.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it was a financial arrangement that,
Sure.
It helped him out. It helped me out. We still had kids at home, but my youngest just graduated. So, it's time to, and it was allowed me to be able to build my business without the pressure of trying to survive on straight commission.
Right. So you're in a tough situation right now. When would be an ideal time for you to move?
Yesterday.
Yeah, because that current situation you're living in has got to be very difficult, isn't it?
I mean, it's not unbearable, but it's not ideal.
Right. So you'd really like to move now, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
But right now, my whole, the only thing that's holding me back right now is just getting qualified with a lender.
Okay. So here's what I'd like to do with you, Christina. What I'd like to do is meet with you tomorrow at about 4. Would that be okay, or would Wednesday be better?
Oh,
Say no, I don't want to.
I know, I don't.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, Christina, you're in a really uncomfortable situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I could show you a way to get you move and get you into a place of your own? How would that affect your life?
Well, yeah, that's what I need. But right now, like I said, what's holding me back isn't you, it's the lender.
No, I get it. And maybe I might have a solution, or maybe I might not, right? But one thing I'm good at, Christina, is being creative, creating creative solutions. So what if I could help you get a place and get you moved to your next house? Would you be interested in hearing about that?
Well, sure.
Okay. So what I did, number one, is I dug into the motivation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I asked a lot of questions. I went back to motivation probably 3 different times, right? And then I kept closing. Okay. Do you guys kind of see how that works? So that's why motivation is so important, right? And I did digress a little bit. So information, I got information about the prospect, right? And I kept going for the appointment, right? And we're going to talk more about that. So important components of scripts. By the way, all I did is kind of go back through all my different experiences, and I sort of threw all this together, and it's going to be a little bit random. So far, is this being helpful to you guys? Okay.
No,
Christina,
Yeah.
do you guys have any questions right now for me?
I try and stick with the Ford formula when I'm trying to go in, just to try and open up a conversation, and then start, as you're saying, start digging deeper as far as the motivations, what
Absolutely.
get into the family, to get into why they're, making the decisions they're making.
And I forgot to put Ford in here. Is there anybody that doesn't know what Ford is? Okay. Why don't you explain that, Matt?
Sure.
Big
Absolutely. Big Matty, no worries. Ford is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So when I start talking to somebody, finding some commonality, asking them some questions about their family, or what they like to do for fun. What do you do for a living? All those things open up different conversations for me to get the information I'm looking to get.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, just think about those components, and they're important. Are any of our other people? I see we have four other people on the call. Alex, are you guys there? Mary Lou, are you
Yes,
guys?
I'm here.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions or feedback? It would be nice to see you guys if you can jump on the call.
I don't have a question so far.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Me either. And I can show myself. I'm just currently at my other job and listening in. So
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. What else? So important components of scripts. Number one is questions. We've already talked a fair amount that, but most scripts are really just a series of questions, okay? Which they say telling isn't selling. Yeah, you don't want to be telling a lot. You want to be asking questions more than anything and leading people to the conclusion. Number two is repeat and affirm, right? So I've got to the point where I do it naturally, right? So when I was role playing with Christina a little bit, what did I do? Pretty much every time she said something, I usually repeat it, and I kind of did it naturally. Like I didn't, like she said that she's in a tough situation, and I said, you're in a tough situation, right? But I use a different word for it, right? I don't just say, she didn't say I'm living with my ex. I don't just repeat it like that, right? I'm asking those questions, right? And I'm repeating what she's saying, but using different language. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And then the third one I wrote down there is humor, right? So what we know is people respond favorably to humor. So you've got to figure out a way to brush some humor into the conversation, because it's just going to sort of lower the, because anytime you've got a prospect, probably they've got some resentment, right? They've got resentment. Number one is because you might be cold calling them. Number two, they might see you as a salesperson. So people don't like salespeople, right? So when you can put some humor into the conversation, it's going to lower their resistance, okay? The fourth one I got there is ask questions and close for the appointment. Well, I think we all forget to do that, but I was doing it with Christina, right? Like I asked her probably 3 different times for the appointment, and she didn't know we were role playing, right? I just kind of jumped into it. The fifth one there is create trust. We talked about that, but I wrote some notes here on that, and show that you're an expert. I think prospects are testing you. They might not tell you, they're certainly not going to tell you they're testing you, but they are absolutely testing you. They want to know if you know the market. They want to know if you're the right agent for them, right? And how do they test you? They're going to ask you questions. They're going to listen to what you say. I wrote down there, know your market, right? We have in our office, and it's open to non-KW agents, Christina. We have Know Your Market. Right now, it's every week. It's Monday. It's today. Is it today, Christina? I mean, Joni?
Yeah, it's today at 3:00.
Today at 3:00. And and Paul Benedict does it, and he does a fantastic job. And I'm looking at it. And I do that. I don't do it every week, but I do it fairly often. And I do that because it creates, when you know what's going on with the market, it shows them that you're the expert, right? When you can talk about it and those types of things. Some test questions they're going to ask you. What do you know about our neighborhood? What do you know about the market? What do you know about my house? My house is special. They'll tell you things like that, right? And so practicing your scripts is going to help you to deal with these things. Some closes I wrote down. That's exactly why you need to meet with me immediately. That's exactly why we need to meet immediately. So that's the downswing we talked about. So there's a pause and a downswing, right? That's exactly why people like you hire me. The other thing I wrote down there is pattern interrupts. And a pattern interrupt is where you're going to kind of surprise them, right? Like they're giving you a lot of resistance, and I don't have a great example of a pattern interrupt. It might be humor. It might be literally pointing out something that they're saying. Like Christina could, if I was getting a lot of resistance from her, I could say something really bold and brash, like, you're living in a crazy situation. Why would you not want to get out of that? Sorry to pick on you, Christina. I'm in the exact, my wife literally moved out like Friday. So I'm in the same situation. Anyway, pattern interrupts. Just think of ways to really break that pattern when they're showing you resistance. And it might be going back to their personal situation. It might be talking about the market. You got to be creative there. And I don't have a good example on that. These are from my old coach, some prospecting tips that I felt are really, really strong, right? He called it Mike's 6 rules for conversing with prospects and handling objections. And the first one there is never argue. So what he said was, no matter what they say, repeat and affirm what they're saying. And you need to think about maybe moving on, right? So they might give you an objection that might sound crazy. Repeat and affirm it, move on. Always smile and nod affirmatively. So even if they're not in front of you, even if it's on the phone, you can smile over the phone, right? And your inflection is going to change, right? Listen carefully. I think this is so important, right? Good eye contact, positive gestures, leaning into them, right? And that might be in a listing presentation. It might be door knocking, things like that. But listen carefully to what they're saying, because it's so important that you repeat it back to them. Now, part of knowing your scripts gives you that ability to listen carefully, okay? And so let me explain that a little bit. If you don't know your scripts, Matt, like you've got to think about what the next thing you're going to say, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
But if you know how to handle those objections, and you know the script so well, you don't need to worry about what you're going to say next, because it's going to come naturally. And I think I demonstrated that pretty good with Christina, right? Like, you know what to say. So it just comes so much faster. And that's why script practice and role play is so important. Okay. And I don't do it all the time, but I don't know if you guys know, but what's her name? Melissa is doing script and role play Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9:30. And Joni's done there quite a bit, which is interesting because Joni kind of knows what she's doing.
Thank you.
And I show up about once a week. And I haven't seen you guys on there, so I'm calling you out a little bit. Maybe you've been on there, maybe you haven't. But part of what you're doing there is, look, sellers all have kind of the same objections, and buyers all kind of have the same objections. So even if we're talking about role playing for expires and for sale by owners, some of those objections in that world are going to pass through, whether it be following up on buyer leads or, home valuation leads, or, the leads you're getting, Matt, for example, things like that. Okay. So moving on, other prospects ask questions. We talked a little bit about that. Questions continue the conversation, right? And they also help you to dive into motivation, right? Handle objections. Again, repeat, affirm, handle the objection, and close. So I think I did that with Christina.
You did.
Yeah, repeat, affirm, handle the objection, and go for the close and ask for the appointment, right?
Patrick, what,
yes.
like it says, don't argue with them or, like agree with them.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm sure, like a lot of people are saying, oh, well, I'm just going to wait and see what the market does.
Let's do that. Go ahead. I'm going to see what the market does.
Yeah, I just want to wait and see what the market does. I think the prices are going to crash. It's going to be like 2008 all over again.
So what you're saying is you're concerned about the market and you're worried about prices crashing, right?
Well, I think if I'm going to buy, I'm going to wait till it crashes, and then that would be the time to buy.
Okay.
I don't
You
want
need to sell your house first?
I'm sorry?
Do you need to sell your house first?
No.
Okay. So you're renting right now?
Yeah, well, I'm living with someone.
Okay. And where'd you hear that the market's going to crash?
Oh, just, all the news and everything that people are saying. Like I'm being the client right now. You know that, right?
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
So you've heard a lot of negative things in the news. Christina, were you aware that about 58% of all owners in Las Vegas are 100%, they own their house free and clear?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And a whole bunch of those other people have a lot of equity also, right? So do you think they're going to drop their drawers when they go to sell?
I'm hoping they will.
So notice I just asked a question. You're hoping they will, right? But realistically, if I own a property 100% free and clear, it's worth 300,000. You think I'm going to go slow if the prices were to drop? Because this is way different from 2008. Would you agree to that? Asking a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It is different, Christina. It is different.
Because 2008 was the economy, and this is something completely different.
Right. And were you aware that our inventory is actually relatively low still? Asking a question.
Okay, I know the inventory is low. Yes.
And if you were a buyer, you might or might not know, right? But you're still going to agree with me, right? Because I'm asking a leading question, right? Yeah. So the inventory is low, and what we know about supply and demand is if the supply is low, the prices actually go up. Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if our supply is low, do you think that's going to cause the prices to drop or go up?
They'll go up.
To go up, exactly. Now we actually are seeing we've seen actually a little bit of an increase or leveling off in the market since the pandemic started. Isn't that surprising?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I think is happening is that as much as buyers are a little bit more reluctant, sellers are also. And Christina, can I share you one more thing why I think it's a great time to buy now?
Why?
Interest rates are at an all-time low again.
Yeah. I know.
There was a time, stay in buyer mode, Christina, don't become the agent. So, a few years ago, rates went back up to 5%. And I think a lot of us thought they were never going to go down again. And here they are right around 3%. And Christina, did you know that for every 1 percentage point increase in interest rates, you're paying 10% more on your monthly payment, roughly?
No, I didn't know that. I didn't.
So what that means is if you buy today at 300,000 versus buying in a year at 270. So let's just say today you're going to get 3% or 3.25%, right? At 300. And let's just say it does drop to 270, that same house, right? Well, guess what? If you buy that house in a year at 4%, you're roughly paying the same thing. Okay. And the one thing we know is that your interest rate isn't going to change, but the price will come back. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when do you think would be a good time to buy? Now at 3% or in a year at 4%, or maybe even 5%?
Right.
Yeah. It's a huge opportunity to buy right now, Christine. And you know what? I'm actually helping my kids buy. And if I thought it was a bad time to buy, do you think I would have my kids buying?
No.
Right. So why don't we do the right thing and get together and meet, and I can kind of dig more into this and show you more why it's a good time to buy and kind of help you move that process forward. Are you available tomorrow afternoon, or would Wednesday be better?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So those are real things. And if you guys probably don't have a kid buying, but you could say, I just talked to a guy yesterday, another agent, and he's got his kids buying. Like, you guys could use that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I believe it's real, because I wouldn't put my kids in that situation. And by the way, if the interest rates go up to 5.25%, you could buy a house today at 2. You could buy that same house in a year or two at 5.25% at $250,000. Your payment would be about the same. So
Right.
I don't have a crystal ball, but shoot, if I can buy at 3% today, that's like money in the bank. Okay. So we diverted a little bit, but that's cool, right? Does that help?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like because I don't want to get into an argument with people about it, but it's like I just didn't know how to guide them through the conversation like you just did.
Yeah.
So.
Did it feel like I was arguing with you?
No, not at all. That's what I'm saying. That was a good.
Those questions just lead you to the answer, right?
Right.
And I overdid the questions a little bit. Like, in real life, I might not do it as much by questions,
Mm-hmm.
although maybe I should, right? Okay, so you got to play with that a little bit and see where it's heading. I will tell more, but I probably shouldn't. Okay, so where were we at? Handle objections, repeat and affirm, keep moving forward, right? So this is really, really important, even for me. So with your presentation, moving forward, prospects. So when you have a prospect on the phone, like the most classic one that I get nailed by is, can you call me back tomorrow? Joni, how often do they call you back tomorrow?
Yeah, they don't. So
it's like 10, 15%, right?
yeah, I mean, it's really, really low.
Like 90% of the time, they will not call you back tomorrow. So it's a full brush. So when you let them do that, if you think about it, I mean, you're literally just like letting them shut you down. Like, you're just giving them permission. And look, if we want to be nice people, we can do that, and that's fine. And yet, are you going to get that $9,000 check, right? Now, we can sit here and pretend, part of me, and somebody might be thinking, somebody on the call, some of our hidden people, right, might be thinking, well, gosh, that's mean. All we're trying to do is get paid. Well, that's a mindset that I want to address right here and right now, right? Like, if I get paid, did I help somebody, Christina?
Yeah.
Did I help them?
Yeah.
Am I going to make them do something they don't want to do? No. What am I doing? I'm really helping them make the right decision. Hopefully I'm a moral person where I'm not going to screw people, right? And there are those people out there, right? But in my mind, I'm never going to do something that I think isn't a good idea. I've got a guy right now, my divorce attorney, of all things. He's buying a house, and he's wondering if he should sell his house or not. Now, look, if he sells his house, I get a listing, right? But I think he's sort of got this feeling in his mind where he wants to be an investor, right? So I'm encouraging him, and I think he's got the financial wherewithal to invest, right? He's not going to be strapped by a tenant that doesn't pay his rent. So I think he's a good investor, right? So I'm telling him, number one is save that house, invest it. And number two, because time is a problem, we're going to put you with a property management. We've got Keith in our office, right? That's going to help him manage it and minimize. And then I'm going to teach him what that world is like, right? Like, budget a certain amount of money every month to go to repairs. So when you do have those repairs, well, like, it's not devastating. You're not writing a check for $5,000. It's already in your account. Does that make sense? So what the point is in my mind, I'm trying to do what's right for the person, and each situation is different. Okay. So what was the point there? Don't let them brush you off, because that's what they do naturally. And that's what they're going to do if you're a weak salesperson. And that's why scripts are so important. But ultimately, what are we trying to do? We're trying to uncover people's needs and fill the need, right? But we can't do that if we can't fill that need if we don't put ourselves in that position, right? Now, if somebody's got a condition, and Joni, what's an example of a condition on a seller?
They've got to work on their home.
They've got to work on their home. Okay.
Yeah, the house needs some work before they can actually put it on the market.
Or maybe they're upside down
Sure.
and they don't have, they don't have money to bring to the table, things like that. Or maybe their job changed, their situation changed, and they're not moving for a year. That's a condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can't change conditions, right? But if we don't know our scripts well enough, then we're not going to be in that position to be that agent for them. And Matt, are you a good agent or a bad agent?
An outstanding agent.
You're a good agent. Okay, good. Is there anybody on here that's a bad agent? Can you please raise your hand? Any of our hidden people? Nobody? Okay, good. Can we all agree, Matt, that there are crappy agents out there?
100%.
How many listings would you say the agents? I hope you don't take pictures on your own, do you?
Of my listings, absolutely not.
Yeah, you use a professional.
Right.
And what percentage would you say take pictures on their own?
More than there should be, to be honest with you. And all the toilet seats are up.
And all the toilet seats are up.
That's
It's like 50%, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least.
And then some of them don't answer the phone and all these things, right? So I'm going to suggest that in your mind, and this is a mindset thing, gang, in your mind, hopefully you're the best agent for them. Or certainly if they don't hire you, they've got a 50% chance of getting a really bad agent, right? And oh my God, if you don't get their business, like here's the way I look at it, right? If they don't get my business, there's a good chance they might not hit their goal. And their goal might be moving to Florida to change their life, to get that new job, or to go live by the beach or whatever it may be. And if I don't get their business, they might get a crappy agent that doesn't sell their house. And guess what? I'm partially responsible for them literally not changing their life. Okay. The fact that I did not convince them to hire me, the result is they're stuck in their current situation. And boy, I don't want to be the person responsible for that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to learn my scripts, right? I'm going to get good at this, and I'm going to do a damn good job, and they're going to get the right agent. It's going to get their house sold, and that's all on me. Okay? So when you have that mindset that I'm a great choice for them, and I'm not going to screw them. I'm actually going to help them improve their life. Well, gosh, that's pretty amazing if you think about it, right? I've got a client. He's a friend. He's a dear friend. They were looking at houses on the west side. I don't know if you guys know about Promenade. Promenade is by Meadows Mall. It's a 55 plus community. It's totally guard gated. It's not a great area, but it's insulated. It's a fantastic community. And when I was working with them, this is 3.5 years ago now, 4 years ago, I think. I found that for them. I came across it because I'm working hard, I'm diligent, and I was astute. I was listening to what their needs were, right? And because I did all those things, I happened to come across this perfect community for them. They want to buy another house in the community. Like, they love this place, right? And shoot, if they got another agent, guaranteed they wouldn't be in that community. Does that make sense? So by putting myself in that position, I help them to literally where they're in their dream house. Like, they love this place. Okay. So that's your responsibility for learning your scripts and for putting yourself in that position. Create urgency. Why do we want to create urgency? It kind of comes down to the same thing. Like if you need to get the appointment, once you get paid, and two, so you put them in that right position, right? And when you get that appointment, you're going to more likely to get the business. Okay. So what are some words that we can use to create urgency? The two words are now and immediately. So Joni,
Yes, sir.
you wanted to move to Florida, right?
I did.
And when did you want to be there?
I'd like to be
Say 6
there.
months from now.
Pardon?
Say 6 months from now.
You know what? I'd like to be there in about 6 months.
Joni, that's exactly why you and I need to meet immediately, because I want to meet with you and help you plan to get you there so that when that time comes, you're ready to go. Is tomorrow okay, or would Wednesday be better?
Well, tomorrow's okay, but do you really think that we need to start this process now?
Absolutely, because you want to be prepared when that time comes, don't you?
Okay, and you're going to be able to help me with this whole process?
Absolutely. So notice I used the tie down, right? And I did create urgency, even though urgency is questionable, right? But 6 months is actually a great time to meet, isn't it, Joni?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because they've got to be planning, right? And some people are going to think, well, I'm not ready. But Joni, if we really need to meet immediately so that when that time comes, you're in a better position to get your house on the market and get you moved. You see what I'm saying? So I'm asking questions and I'm going for the close and I'm creating urgency.
Absolutely.
Universal responses. That's why people like you hire me. That's exactly why we need to meet immediately. I just used it. Okay. Tie downs. Joni, didn't I use the tie down on you?
Yeah, you did.
Haven't I used them a lot during this entire presentation?
Absolutely.
You see how tie downs work in sales, don't you?
Yes, I
And
do.
we could just keep doing this all day, couldn't we?
Yes, we could.
You do see how tie downs are important, don't you?
I do.
And you use tie downs yourself, don't you?
I use them every day.
Awesome. Did I make the point?
I think so.
I did, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Number 10, when should you close? When you've received enough qualifying information from the prospect after handling any objection. So you don't close too early. That's really important, right? You need to know sort of what's going on before you go for a close. And a close is really an appointment, right? But it also might be during a listing presentation or during a buy-in presentation to close for the contract, right? So you need to be in the right place before you do it. And part of that is by listening, right? Part of that is with trial closes. So Matt, let me ask you, how will you know when you found the right agent?
I'll know that they know the market, and I know that they'll fight hard for me and do the best job that they can.
Okay. And tell me, when exactly did you want to move?
I wanted to be settled in about 6 months.
In 6 months. Wow. Okay. And why is 6 months important for you?
Because that's when we're starting the new job.
Okay, great, great. So you see what I'm doing here? It's the same questions every day. Call them a script, call them what you want. But I've been doing this long enough where it just comes naturally. Okay. So it goes back to role play and scripts.
Patrick, on that,
Yes.
back on that handling objections, it says repeat, affirm, handle. What are you repeating and affirming?
The objection. Yeah. And did I do it just now with Matt? I don't remember. I didn't, right? But I would have done so Matt said, so I want to, what's important to you about that's really not an objection, right? So maybe that's why I didn't repeat and affirm. And I don't do it all the time. But an objection, so Joni, an objection
I was going to say, so when I
What?
said, are you sure we're not getting together too soon?
Well, the objection was, yeah, 6 months, right? So, yeah, I think I did. So you did want to move in 6 months, right? And why is that important to you? So that's affirming it and asking another question. And that's part of the sales flow, is affirm and ask another question. Okay, because when you affirm their objection, it makes them know that you're listening, and everybody wants to be listened to and be heard, right? Don't they, Joni?
Yes, sir, they do.
All right. So I wanted to throw in a couple of points. This is one of my, an objection, I mean, a close that I heard that I like. It's tough. It's very strong. So let's, Joni, will you play with me a little bit? We're
Sure.
going to come near the end where you're like a FSBO, right?
Okay.
And so let's just, we're coming near the end, and go ahead and give me a FSBO objection.
Well, I really didn't want to have to pay that commission. I'm trying to make the most money I can.
Okay, so Joni, what I'm hearing is the commission's important to you.
Yeah, keeping as much money in my pocket as possible.
Okay, so is the commission important or the net amount in your pocket? Which is more important to you?
You know what? It's really about the net amount. I
Yeah.
want to net as much money as I can.
How much were you thinking?
Well, when I look at what I can get for the house, what I think I can get for it, and what I owe, I mean, I'm hoping to walk away with 50,000, but I don't really know all the other costs that might be involved either.
Okay, so what I'm really hearing is you want to put the most money in your pocket when you get the house sold. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So Joni, let me ask you a question. If you knew 100% for certain that doing business with me, two things would happen. One is you'd actually get your house sold, and two, you'd end up with significantly more money in your pocket, bottom line. And I know that's a big promise, but if you knew that were true, wouldn't you want to hear about it? Be honest with me.
If I knew it were true, yeah, absolutely, I'd want to hear about it.
Okay, why don't we do this? Can I come over tomorrow about 4 o'clock, and I'm going to show you how we're going to make that happen, or would 6 be better?
I think 6 would be better because I think my husband should be here as well.
Okay, I'll see you at 6 tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so other things. So if you're going to use that one, you really, really, really need to practice it. It comes from, I can't remember. I got it from Colton Lindsay, who got it from someone else. Okay, next one I got here is, I'm going to wait until the value goes up, till the value of my house goes up. Matt, would you want to do that one with me?
I'm up. Let's go.
So you're going to tell me I'm waiting for the value of the house to go up?
Yeah, right now, I just want to wait and see where the value's going. I really hope they go up.
Okay. So Matt, are you going to be buying when you move?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Were you aware that the market that you sell in is the market that you buy in?
Yeah, that's true.
Can I explain?
Yes, please.
Okay. So your house is worth about 3 in today's market, right? And how much did you want to get for it ideally?
I need to get at least 30 out of it.
Okay. And are you going to be going up in value or to a lower downsizing?
We're going to go up in value a little bit.
Okay. So let's just, and how much did you say you wanted? I missed that part. Sorry.
We're going to need to clear 30 to whatever.
So you want the price to go up to what?
Well, we're going to need to get up to about 320.
320. So let's just say it's, to make the math easy, Matt, let's say we're talking 330 is what you wanted, right?
There you go.
And what price point are you buying in?
Right around 400.
400. Okay. So when your house goes up 10%, what do you think is going to happen to the house that's worth 400 today?
It's probably going to go up as well.
Probably about 10%, right?
That seems logical to me.
So it might be 440, which is $40,000, right?
Right.
That's really nice if you're wanting to put more money into that seller's pocket when you buy a house. So I use humor, right? I don't always do that. But
Okay.
Matt, do you see how it's probably better for you to sell now and update now rather than waiting?
I do now, yes.
And by the way, did you know that interest rates are an all-time low?
And I can afford more house.
So we actually have a double whammy going on, Matt. If you wait to upsize to get that bigger house, you're actually going to pay more for that house. But more importantly, you're probably going to pay a higher interest rate.
Wow, I didn't think of that.
So Matt, when would be a good time for us to meet and really talk about getting you to that bigger house?
I'd say we need to meet immediately.
All right, cool. Okay, you got it. Now this was a fairly new script I learned, and it's so important in today's market, right? Because that's an objection we're going to get all the time. So I think that I actually got that from Gary Keller, I think.
That was good.
Yep. Okay, next one, role play. So I think I've kind of hammered on this. What is effective role play? Okay, so what is an effective role play? People chit chat on role plays a lot. A good role play is you're going to jump right into it. So literally, I'm going to call, and we're going to just jump right into role play. That's going to save you time, right? Because time's important, isn't it? So we're going to call, we're going to plan out what we're going to role play about, and we're going to just jump right in. Okay. They say that basically you want to give 3 to 4 objections, and then you want to let the other person that's doing the role play get the business. Okay. Now you don't want to be too easy on them. You don't want to be too hard on them. They need to practice their objection handlers, right? And practice their scripts. Why do top agents still role play? Well, I think it comes down to staying sharp, right? So one of the things I realized in preparing for this class is that I let people brush me. Remember we talked about being brushed in terms of, can you call me back tomorrow? Like if I'm weak, like that's my number one weakness. And I don't role play enough, and I certainly don't role play that one thing. And that one thing is going to get me being sharper at not letting them brush me off is going to get me more business, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So if I practice that one skill, it might get me one new piece of business every 2 months. Who knows what it's going to be? But the better I get, the more business I'm going to get. And by practicing your role play, you're just sharpening yourself. What's his name? Stephen Covey, sharpen the saw, right? You guys all heard that? Okay. So I think we've done a lot of role play, so we won't do that. What else? Scripts. So anybody interested in FSBOs? Any of our secret people? I did get a comment. Somebody typed something.
Oh, let me see. I don't see anything.
Okay, so Justin just had to go. All right. So FSBOs expired, just listed, just sold. Joni, why don't we do it just, why don't you do a just circle prospecting? Did Matt go away too?
Maybe. Ring, ring.
Yes, hello.
Hello, this is Joan Kilton with Keller Williams Realty. How are you today?
Good.
Good. So the reason for my call, sir, is we are literally working on a property just down the street from you.
Is this a sales call?
Is this a sales call? This is I'm calling to give you information call. How does that sound?
It's okay. What's up?
Well, I was calling, as I said, because we are finishing up a property that we are just remodeling. It's just down the street from you. So
Okay.
the reason that I'm calling is I wanted to make sure that the whole neighborhood, all the neighbors were aware that this fabulous new property is coming on the market. Do you by any chance have any family or friends that you would like to be your neighbor that I could reach out to and show them the home before it goes out on the multiple listing service?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. Well, I do appreciate that you thought about that. Are you by any chance considering making any kind of a move in the next 30, 60, 90 days?
No, but maybe in a few years, we're gonna do something.
In a
My
few
daughter
years?
graduates in 2 years, so we're thinking about moving then.
Okay, so are you considering downsizing or just moving a different type of property altogether in a few years then?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you, do you have a realtor that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the market?
There's a few that I have.
That they keep you updated regularly? Do you talk to them on a regular basis?
I wouldn't say I talk to them on a regular basis, but I have some friends that are realtors.
Okay, well, would it be possible for me to get your information? I'd love the opportunity to keep you updated, let you know what's happening in the market. And this way, when you are ready, you will know that you have somebody that knows the market and what's happening and can direct you in the right area.
Sure.
Wonderful, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, cool. So real simple script. I think Joni handled it pretty perfect, right? I was a little bit, I think that was a good level of objection, right?
Mhm.
Okay, open houses. Any of you guys have any questions on any of these things? On
Did-
scripts for these?
Did you say you just use the Mike Ferry scripts for these?
A lot of them I do, yes. Again, I've kind of got to the point where, look, there's a few things on scripts. Number one is motivation. Number two is time frame. Motivation, time frame, rapport, objection handling. There's all these things that we've been talking about, right? What I've always got these questions in mind. Where are you moving to? When are you moving to? What's important about being there? All those things are so embedded in my psyche now that they just come naturally. Where are you moving to? What's important about moving there? Ideally, when would you like to be there? Why is that important to you? Okay, those are all the questions in all the Mike Ferry scripts, and frankly, a lot of the other scripts. And probably half of all the coaches out there come from Mike Ferry, okay? So yeah, I can share with you guys all these scripts, and I've, and I have them ready for you. So what else? We've talked about a lot of the basic objections. I gave you all those questions, right? Anybody want to hear a good buyer script?
Sure.
This is really one of my favorites, and I don't do enough buyers. Joni, you familiar with LP Mama?
No, I was gonna ask you, what is LP Mama? I am not.
So write down Claudia Restrepo. Claudia Restrepo, Restrepo, I believe. I believe she created this, but you can also YouTube LP Mama, and this is a really good one. This is huge, and you can use it for any buyer. She used it for sign calls, but you can Google LP Mama, and there's a lot of people that have copied it. You'll see on YouTube, there's tons of them. So let's do this, Joni. You're going to call me.
Okay,
Oh, I'm going to call you back. So you've called me. I'm calling you back. Okay? Ring, ring.
hello.
And I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. Hey, Joni, this is Pat Adams with Keller Williams Realty. The reason I'm calling is you had inquired about a property at XYZ Street. The property are you looking in that area?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you like about that property?
You know what? It was the location, and I could tell because it was in a cul-de-sac that it had a large yard, and that's really important to me.
Oh, so you're looking at a property with a large yard.
Yes,
How'd you like the cul-de-sac vibe?
I like that. I like corners as well, though. It's about the size for sure.
Okay. Well, that one was priced at $350,000. Is that the price point you're looking to buy in?
In that vicinity, we figured we were gonna be somewhere around 450. So I mean, if this house works for 350, that's a bonus.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're looking in the 450 price range.
That's what we thought it would take to get a single story pool, 3-car garage. That's one of my husband's, that's a have to have, the 3-car garage, and then of course the land.
So you said a pool and a 3-car garage.
Yes, sir.
What else is important to you?
The location for sure, and
Okay.
we are looking in the general vicinity of that property. Minimum 3 bedrooms.
3-bedroom. Okay. Okay, cool. And do you currently own the house or are you renting where you're at now?
I own the home that I'm in.
Okay. Do you need to sell that property before you buy? Or can you just go ahead and buy and then sell?
Well, we're looking into that now because we would like to keep it as an investment if we can.
Oh, okay. So you're thinking about keeping the house. I'm repeating and affirming.
Yes,
You think about keeping it and renting it out.
that would be our goal.
Cool. Do you own any other investment properties or would this be your first?
No, we've got a couple other ones, but it's the first time we're considering doing it with our primary. The other ones are smaller, so this is a little
Okay.
bit bigger property, and we stuck with the smaller ones. So that's kind of our concern. Is it going to cause us more problems because it's a little bit bigger house?
Well, I'd love to talk to you about that a little bit more. Let me ask you this. If you were to find the house of your dreams, when would be an ideal time for you to move?
We really would like to be moved in the next 3 to 6 months. I mean, but
Okay.
if we found the right house, I'm not going to pass it up if it was something I had to move sooner on.
Oh, so if you found like your dream home, like real soon, you'd want to move now?
Yeah, for the right house, we would.
Okay. And how have you been looking at houses so far?
My husband's on the internet all the time, swiping through the
Okay.
houses.
So he's on Zillow or one of those websites?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the one that when I'm out and about, I drive the neighborhoods and stuff that I like, but he's always on the internet.
Okay. Have you gone any open houses, things like that?
Yeah, I've stopped in a few here and there.
Okay. And do you have any agent showing you any houses or anything like that?
Showing us houses? No.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. And Joni, are you paying cash for your next house or do you need a mortgage?
Well, I think that we're going to pay cash and that will, once we know the numbers better, we should hopefully be able to do that. If not, it would be a very small mortgage.
Okay. Well, listen, here's what we should do at this point. What I'd like to do is kind of meet with you and go over what your needs are in a little more detail and work up a plan, Joni. And I'm going to show you what it's like buying houses in the current environment. It sounds like you've got a lot of experience with it, but as you know, the contracts have changed and the market's changed a little bit and things like that. What I'd love to do is kind of meet with you and go over that process with you and work out a plan to get you in your dream home. When would be an ideal time for us to do that?
It has to be sometime after 5 o'clock because my husband doesn't get home before then.
Okay. Can we do it tomorrow afternoon or would Friday be a good time for you or maybe on the weekend?
No, probably tomorrow's better.
Okay. All right, cool. So just review the script, gang. It's not that tricky. I do have
I see now it had some stuff about lenders. I didn't realize that because I was talking to you versus reading.
Yeah,
the
you
script.
messed me up there.
You should have told me.
So look at the lender part, yeah. So I'm gonna have my lender reach out to you. That's what that's all about. I've got in here the script piece by piece. I've kind of broken it up, right? And a lot of notes and things like that. So I can send that to you guys. This is a killer script. And again, I don't work with a lot of buyers, so I don't use it enough, but I had a guy call me this weekend. And if I had been a little bit more brushed up, it was a weird one anyway, but I did use components of this. So it's real important to have your scripts. Okay, do you have a question, Matt?
No, I was raising my hand. I wanted a copy.
Okay. Some other, the next probably, oh my God. I think pre-qual, Joni, you know this, is so important. I'm going to show you the pre-qual. Do you guys want to do it?
Yeah.
Matt, I'll do this one with you. After you get the appointment, who does a pre-qual script right now? Any of our silent agents do any? Matt, do you do a pre-qual pre-qual?
On a listing appointment?
Yeah.
Generally, I don't, to be honest with you.
Christina, how about you?
For listings or for buyers?
For listings.
No.
Okay, Joni, how about you?
What? I'm sorry. I was reading a
Do you
text.
do a pre-qual script?
I try to. I don't get to it every time, but I certainly try to.
How do you think it affects you when you don't do it?
It doesn't end up good most of the time. So I will say when I did Mike Ferry, that was one of the big things. We used the expired scripts, and so we did a lot of pre-qualing, and that got us a lot of new business because of those scripts, and we weren't going on appointments that we shouldn't.
Yeah, and I would say that when I don't pre-qual, unless they're like a slam dunk type listing, if I don't pre-qual, it probably hurts me. Like I don't get the listing way more often, right, Joni?
Well, yeah, I mean, like just as an example, we went on an appointment last week, and when they list, do I have the business? Absolutely. And they are already referring me people. But they're an older couple. There's some health situations. And even though the wife really thinks she wants to move, she also then got very overwhelmed at not knowing for sure where she wanted to go and if this was the right thing. Her children are telling them not to move. So on one hand, I guarantee you, if I would have 100% went down the regular pre-qual list, I probably would not have gone on the appointment. So I have also found that in some cases, I choose to go on the appointment because I've been lucky enough to be able to turn them into relationships to where even if they're not doing something immediately, they will list with me when the time comes, as well as then they give me business. And it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it is definitely what has been happening more, I think, since COVID, because you're getting more information out of people when you're sitting with them.
Yeah. So I think the main reasons for pre-qualifying, well, there's a lot of them, but price is a big one. Really what you're doing is you're really asking them what it's going to take to get their business. Okay. That's really what a pre-qual is, but it's also understanding where they're at in the process. And it's really uncovering the secrets, so to speak, their evil secrets, right? And price is so important. And when you don't pre-qualify, you're less prepared for the price. Okay, so we're going to get into it. So Matt, I'm going to call you up and I'm going to pre-qual for our appointment on today's Monday. I try to do it about 3 days in advance. So we've got an appointment Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and your house is, you want 450 and it's worth about 420. Okay. And we can make up the rest. Okay. So Matt, ring.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Matt, Pat Adams here, Keller Williams. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing today?
Good. Hey, I'm really excited about our meeting on Wednesday. Really looking forward to working with you guys. I just wanted to go over a few questions with you before we meet. Do you have like 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So Matt, first question I want to ask is, before I come out on Wednesday, when we meet, if it makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your house, are you planning to list with me when we meet?
Depends on what the price is.
Okay. So the price is important for you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Matt, are you planning on interviewing any other agents for the job of selling your home?
We've talked to a couple, but you know, we want to make sure that we feel that we have the right person, so we probably will.
Okay. So you are interviewing other agents.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go off script, Matt. How will you know that you found the right agent after you're done interviewing?
You know, that's a great question. It's really going to be about them knowing the market, how fast I think they can sell the house, and really how I feel about them working with them.
Okay. So it really sounds like you're looking for an agent that you trust and you feel like they're competent. That's what I'm hearing. Does that sound about right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, cool. Matt, tell me again, where were you guys moving to?
We're moving back to California.
California. Cool. So what's bringing you to California?
Family is the only thing that would bring me back there.
Okay. So who's in California?
Got mom back there. Got to go help mom out a little bit.
Oh, okay. So she's getting older?
Yeah, she's got a couple of years on her.
Oh, wow. That sounds important.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to help her out. I'm the only child.
So when would be an ideal time for you to get there?
I'd really like to be there. The sooner the better, but I think the 3 to 6 months, but 3 months would be best.
Okay. So let me ask you, if we were to put your house on the market, soon, and we actually had a contract and get it closed in 2 months, would that be a problem for you, or would you be able to work that out?
That's something that we could work out for sure.
Okay, cool. So, Matt, when I see you on Wednesday, do you have kind of a price in mind for your house?
Honestly, I'd like to. I'm looking around. I'm thinking, 450 is probably a good number.
Oh, okay, 450. Wow, all right. Matt, now I'm a real estate professional. I've been doing this for a while. I assume that you'll list with me at a price that will cause your home to sell, correct?
I definitely want to sell the home. Yes.
Okay, cool. And do you have kind of a bottom line price in mind? Like what price won't you go below?
I think, I'd really like to be at that 450, but, if we got an offer and it was quick and we can make things happen at about 420, maybe we could talk about that.
Okay. So in a worst case scenario, you would consider 420?
There'd have to be some other things that would make that offer a little bit better, but, we would definitely consider all options.
So this is so important, right? Because I've really got him thinking 420, right? You see that? And if he's stuck with 450, well, at least I know what I need to, what I need to get him at, right? Okay, so Matt, can you tell me more about your house? Blah, blah, blah. Matt, how long have you owned the house?
Coming up on 5 years or so.
Okay, and what do you guys owe on it?
I think we're right around 250.
250, okay. All right, cool. And I don't really like this, what sold you on it, but whatever. Have you done any updates to it? That's always good to know. Matt, I'm going to be sending over some information. Here's some other add-on questions that I've added recently. So Matt, have you talked to any of those iBuyers, OfferPad, Open Door, anybody like that?
No, I get the stuff in the mail from them all the time, but no, I haven't reached out to those guys.
You haven't. Okay. Have you thought about selling to them?
They always say they give, market offers and reasonable offers. So I was thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay. We can talk more about that. But at the end of the day, one thing you probably should know is that they're really going to flip your house, just so you know, right? So they're going to buy it and they need to make a profit on it, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that profit would probably be your profit if you think about it, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So short and simple, right? Don't dwell on it. Just I love this. Like they're going to make a profit. It's probably your money they're going to make. it just, it's probably
gonna
gonna.
lay that out nice, man.
Yeah. So Matt, did you look on Zillow in terms of what your house was worth on there?
I did. I got my Zestimate.
Oh, what did that say?
I think this week it was at like somewhere in the 430, 435, somewhere in there.
Okay. But Zillow hasn't been out to your house, has it?
No, they haven't been there. No.
Okay. So the computer is like a wild guess, kind of, right?
Right.
All right, cool. So I already did the important things, right? And Matt, do you have any questions before I come out? Say commission.
No.
What's your commission?
Oh, what's your commission?
So absolutely, I understand that's probably what most people want to know about, and we're going to cover that when we meet. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. I look forward to seeing you, man.
You as well, big dog.
All right. So this is huge, Matt. If you're not using it, use it, man. It's just...
I like how you laid that out. That was nice about the iBuyers. I do have a little bit different conversation with that. I don't have it scripted like that. That's very quick and concise, and it puts it right in their head.
Yep. So I'll send this out to you guys too. What else we got here? Find a role play partner, put it on your calendar and do it. And I'm going to wrap it up. It's been cool discussion. Any of you guys have questions? Any of you secret people have questions?
I appreciate your time today, man. That was outstanding. I really do appreciate it.
And just keep in mind, like Patrick mentioned, everybody that's listening, Melissa Mashat in our office, the productivity coach, she is doing scripts and role play every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:30. And it's going really well. What's really nice is that she gives the people coming to the call an opportunity to talk about like what they may have gotten stumped over. So like Patrick mentioning that he realized that he might get brushed off too easily with the tomorrow call thing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we
I
all
was
have
just reminded
something.
of that, man. I'm so weak at that.
Well, and so like today we talked about two different things that two agents, were having some issues with, and I know that everybody got something out of it. So I think it's really important because it's everyday work, and then you can still have a role play partner that you can work on with separately as well.
Yeah, you guys definitely should look. I don't have a role play partner now, but I definitely go in and out of it. Like I'll have one for a while and then I'll take a break and things like that. It's so important. And you got to get somebody that's good, that's committed, and you got to keep it on a schedule and give it 20 minutes every day or 3 days a week or whatever works for you. But it's so important, gang. Okay, cool, man. I've enjoyed it. Appreciate you guys showing up.
Thank you, Patrick.
I know I was able to brush up on some of my stuff. Send me an email if you want the scripts and I'll send them over. I'll give you my favorites. Okay, just send me an email. My email is patsellsvegas@gmail.com. Pretty simple.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, cool, gang.
Thanks, Patrick.
Johnny, thanks for coming.
Real quick,
Absolutely.
when they say, hey, can I call you back tomorrow? What is it that you say? Did you go over that?
Yeah, so Christina, sorry I didn't, but so Christina, you wanted me to call you back tomorrow, right? I'll just make
I'll call you.
Yeah, so tomorrow would 3 o'clock be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Christina, tell me, where were you moving again?
It doesn't matter. Out of here.
Oh, okay. So you want to be out of Vegas or out of this house?
No, out of this house.
Okay. So when would there be a good time for you to make that happen? Like, would you want to get out soon or would 6 months be okay?
No, the sooner the better.
Okay, we better get together and meet soon, Christina, if you want to make that happen. Would tomorrow, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
You just literally acknowledge it. When did you want me to call you back and then you move on?
Well, I find, just like Joan said, they say they'll call you back and then they don't. And then you keep calling them and they just ghost you. It's like they save your number and now they're like, oh, that's that realtor, and they don't answer.
Exactly.
It's so annoying.
So you got nothing to lose by pressing them.
Yeah, what's the worst they're going to do? Hang up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Never talk
probably
to
80% of the time, they'll continue the conversation if you just ask the next question.
All
And
right.
guess what? You can do it three or four times, right, Tony? On the
Yeah,
same
absolutely.
call. Like they'll do the brush, and then you just acknowledge it and ask the next question, and they'll keep going until they do hang up on you, and then that's okay. Because they're, if you have the right mindset, when they hang up on you, it's almost like a victory.
Right. They just saved you a lot of time.
It's a badge of honor. Like I hung in there until they hung up on me. We play the hang up game sometimes. You've done that. We've done that, haven't we, Joni?
Yeah,
The hang up
we
game.
called them back.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, send me an email and I'll send over these scripts. Okay, guys?
Right on. Thank you so much again.
All right.
Thanks,
you guys have a
Patrick.
great one.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Why would I leave meeting?